at the Center for Development of Advanced Technologies, as I'm a research scientist in this center. This center is affiliated to the Algerian Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research. I'm director of research, and my field of expertise is artificial intelligence and mathematics. Now let's go to give you a glimpse of the outline of this presentation. So first of all, we're going to go through what is open science. Just a summary of this definition. There are so many various definitions of open science, but we're going to focus on some main keywords. We will present also some open science success stories in Western countries. And in section 3, we're going to go through strategies for promoting open science. In section 4, we're going to go through recommendation for advocating open science in the Arab world. And in section 5, we show how artificial intelligence can be exploited in information sharing as future potentials and resources. We'll cover with you some resources related to open science in Algeria, my country. And then we will finish with a view of scholar Al-Khwarizmi towards open science. We will see how his citation is completely aligned with the perception of open science we have today. And then we will finish with some concluding remarks. Okay, so the idea behind open science is mainly to make data accessible, and data has to be controlled and has to be also used optimally. So many actors needs to be involved or needs to be engaged. These actors are the stakeholders. This is the first definition that is given by UNESCO. And there are other definitions of open science, which is the practice of science in such a way that others can collaborate and contribute. So it's a collaboration that need not to be, not need to be confused with a cooperation. A collaboration means we have a main objective and main goal to achieve, whereas cooperation is how to help someone to achieve any goal he or she wants. So needs collaboration first of all, because we have the main objective, the main goal. Research data, lab notes, and other research process needs to be shared and made freely available. Redistribution, dissemination as well. So this is the second definition, which is provided by fosteropenscience.eu. The meaning of open science discipline has started, is really pervasive in the STEM, science of mathematics, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics disciplines. Because this happened because of science bears a unique interpretation compared to other fields, such as, for example, art and humanities. So STEMs depends on scientific methods to collect valuable data and help prove or disprove theories. So therefore, there is a need for data to be exchanged via accessible repositories. As I just mentioned, that there is also an urgent need for adjusting some open science concept when applied to art and humanities, including literature, philosophy, religion, languages. And this is an effort has to be, this is the big challenge that needs to be lived up because of the subjectivity of the knowledge involved in these disciplines. Now, if we can just provide here 6 keywords that reflects open science. The first one is dissemination, which means distribution, transmission, communicating information via various channels to reach targeted groups. There is also what we call the second one, which is scientific research. Scientific research here means that we need research that is measurable, that we can measure, and also non-subjective. We need also valuable data, data of value, informative data from which conclusion may be drawn. And we need as well reliable data. What we call reliable data are accuracy, Data that are accurate and completed, it means completeness, accuracy of computer processed data. And data need also to be accessible, widely accessible. Data needs to be available to others. And the most important things, many stakeholders needs to be engaged. This will make science a glass box. So now we will go through some open science successful stories in Western countries. And this is taken from repositories, University of Arizona. The first one is the collaboration between NASA and the European Space Agency in order to address global climate change. The agencies will collaborate on an open data policy that promotes open sharing of data, information, and knowledge within the scientific community and the wider public. Other successful stories are related to COVID-19. Open science save lives. The cooperation between different organizations to get information has leapfrogged our knowledge, or has allowed us to get insight into the COVID-19 pandemic. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, many publishers and researchers have sped up their adoption of open science practices. Sometimes they embraced them fully, and sometimes in some organizations, they did that partially in a suboptimal manner. Another success story is related to, I will say that even the impact factor that is that faculty and staff members use is also being abandoned by some Dutch universities, and in order to hire people or perform promotion in their universities. So faculty and staff members, for example, at Utrecht University, will be evaluated by their commitment to open science. So this is an interesting point. We are leaning toward different kind of measure, and we are getting far a little bit from the classical, the conventional impact factor that really neglect or significantly neglect the contribution of open science. So open science will definitely impact and will help us to come up with a new measure of impact factors, maybe more robust. Genetics, data sharing and repositories and reproducible clinical genetic testings also has been improved because of the CleanVar, which is freely accessible public archive of reports that show us a different variation in phenotype. And this is kind of important information in genetics. So, and we'd have an impact in oncology, cardiology, neurology, pediatrics, obstetrics, and other clinical specialties. Another success of open science is also brought by what we call the Ice Bridge project, which is ongoing NASA mission to monitor changes in polar ice, and this allowed researchers the detection of what we call impact crater that was found under Greenland ice. Researchers first detected the crater by reviewing data made openly available through NASA's Operation Icebridge, which is this ongoing NASA mission. So, of course, the crater, the impact crater is different from the volcanic crater, which is much more related to internal collapse. Okay, good. The strategies for promoting open science. First of all, this really helps us. The first thing that needs to be done, in my opinion, is to build a collaboration between countries, what we call stakeholders, and see and measure this payoff. The payoff gained allotted to different stakeholders independently and collectively through a collaborative process. We need to share the same objective in order to perform this collaboration. Analyze the contribution of each society stakeholder to the open science goal. I just added that game theory, which is Game theory needs to be exploited. Game theory, which is a formalism that is developed within the economics field. Game theory allows us to take some measure to be able to build a platform that measure this contribution. Of course, it needs players because this formalism needs players, and players are the countries that are involved having the same objective. It needs also a payoff that needs to be defined. This payoff is that what really gather us all together. We need all to succeed collectively. And then it needs a certain number of actions that need to be performed separately in each country. So we need to create a cooperation between stakeholders contributing to a tight collaboration that enables actions to be performed. So it's like working, a collaboration is like working with someone, and a cooperation is working for someone. So we need to work together to live up to the challenge, to achieve a certain goal, but we need also to help each other, helping each other to achieve different goals, which are separately. Some of actions are create scientific networks within and between academia, research centers, and industrial institutions. We need to dedicate computer resources, computer sharing platform, bridge the communication gap by aligning academic curricula with industrial needs via alumni and the involvement of industrial deciders as members of board trustees, for example. I used to be a faculty in the United States, and that's what we used to do. I was in Michigan University, and that's what we used to do, trying to align our curricula with the industrial needs. Share data materials, codes, and research articles. This has to be shared completely. Allow others bid on your work using intelligent software. Intelligent software means the use of artificial intelligence needs to be exploited as well. Reach out to other groups of society through dissemination using different communication modes and language, because some people may not be able to get the information needed. So we have to exploit different channels and different means. Left. Create scientific network between academia. This is already covered. Now in the Arab world, we need to have educational resources, collect more curated documents in Arabic language, networking in ICT infrastructure, study the pros and cons of the Western experience and build our own in the Arab world. We have to be inclusive, suggest more stakeholders, including university director educators, and also take into account the cultural background, because life outside of the lab influences life in the lab. This is what we call the culture influence in scientific assessment. Training, provide training about using standardized metadata for the published resources, offline OER, low-cost technologies promoting offline accessibility to OER. Organize seminar whose mission is to build novel OS strategies based on Western experience. Exploit data analytics. Data analytics is part of it calls artificial intelligence. It's very important because it analyzes raw data to make conclusion about that information that we have. To enable communication between remote IoT devices that needs to be to build big data repositories, allow the study of the structural evolution, extract more robust and fair scientometric statistics than the conventional ones, such as the H index and I-10 index. Robustness can sometimes exhibit qualitative information rather than just quantitative. This is just a scheme, a graphic representation of the role of separation between data analytics and the call for artificial intelligence algorithm. Interpretation of data through the use of artificial intelligence algorithm allow us to go further, to make a prediction, to derive, if you want, conclusion. And these are some resources in Algeria. We have various resources that promote open science in Algeria. The National System of Online Documents, the SNDL, which is hosted by Center of Research, CERIST. So it is a subscription by the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research, where students can get papers from different publishers. And this is a list of publishers that we have. The student can get the list freely. Students register it in Algerian universities. We have database repositories where students can access to a bunch of databases also as well. of thesis, master thesis or PhD thesis. We have web TV broadcasting scientific programs that is regularly being broadcasted in various fields of science. This is also for free. We have we have also open source software, for example, for evaluation of solar radiation and wind speed in Algerian atlases in order related to renewable energy, so that person can know exactly whether renewable energy can be exploited in this region. This is put online. This is developed by a research center in Algeria. We have university and research centers journal that we are sharing, and for free also, as well as bulletins that are produced. This is just various. Now we just give you a view of Al-Khwarizmi, which is our scholar that promote OS. The scholar Khwarizmi just said that the scholar of time past and of nation gone by have never ceased to compose books. They did it to bequeath or to pass on their knowledge to those who follow them. In this way, the quest for truth will remain alive. Musa al-Khwarizmi. If you are looking at the words that Khwarizmi has used pass on. Pass on is also related to dissemination. He has also used compose books, which means scientific research. He has used their knowledge, which means valuable data, knowledge. He also used quest for truth, reliable data, remain alive, accessible data as well, and scholar who follow them, stakeholder engagement. So Al-Khwarizmi really summarize the 6 keywords that are evolving around the open science efforts. So my conclusion is that the promotion of OS, open science, remains a scientific, technological, and a cultural paradigm shift. Open science save lives. We have seen through COVID-19 pandemic. It is a perfect example of a learning experience. Multiple independent reviews exhibit bi-level assessment, and therefore trust in research findings. Objective scientometric indexes are being proposed, of course, based on open science achievement as an improvement to those who are conventional indexes, such are impact factor H-index in some Western universities and institutions during hiring and promotion. A tight cooperation between the Arab countries should be established to reinforce sharing and uplift open science. And this is just the end of my presentation. And thank you for paying attention to my presentation.